What's up, traders? I appreciate you being here. My name is Austin Silver. If you don't know me already, today we're going to be talking all about Bitcoin. I'm going to give you my thoughts on Bitcoin so far this year in 2022 and where I think it's going in 2023. We're going to talk about some of the players and drivers of Bitcoin's price action, and I'm going to give you some opinions or some ideas just to have you ponder. And hopefully all of the ideas and analysis, not just on the technical side, but on the fundamental side here, are going to help you make good trading decisions on Bitcoin going into next year. Now, if you don't follow me already, please make sure you're following me on Instagram and on Twitter at AustinSilverFX. It's the same handle on YouTube as well. I post tons of content on my own channels to show that I'm actually trading, I'm actually in the market, and I trade a lot of Bitcoin. So this is the main asset that I would feel most comfortable talking about. Now, the first thing before we get into any of this beautiful chart work, I have volume as an indicator on my chart. I also have the 8 and 21 EMAs. The red is in 21, the yellow is the 8. The only other indicator I'm going to use today is this TDI down here on the bottom of the screen, specifically this market sentiment line, the yellow line. That's going to drive a lot of the trend, at least some of the direction that we look at here. So first thing we're looking at is the daily time frame. Now, as you can see from the start of 2022, Bitcoin has just had it rough, to say the least. What I like to do is use what's called a 2-candle rule to draw really important price zones. So if we go back to the beginning of the year, we can see that this price zone created with the pin on January 24th is a solid zone of support for almost 5 months. The way that I drew the zone here is I use the longer pin from this move down, and I make sure that the 2 candles to the left and the 2 candles to the right are not lower than that pin, and that's what makes it that zone. For example, I wouldn't use this pin of this low candle because that pin, this candle to the right, 1, 2, is lower. So this whole pin is the zone. And as you can see, it's held as support through February and March. It's really not broken until we had this extremely strong push down in May. Once we broke the zone at 33,000, notice how well it used it as resistance above. So support became resistance and we moved lower. Now, if we draw another zone from that initial push down with the 2-candle rule applied here, we're going to get this big zone. And as you can see, we slide right through it. Same thing here. We slid right through it. So part of the reason for that is because there's little liquidity there. There's a low amount of orders, and that's why price slides through those zones. And as soon as we broke the zone back in the beginning of June 13th, we held it again here in August as resistance above. So again, support is broken and becomes resistance. So that would then have us drawing the June low in here with this pin. Now that has been held many times, and I think it trapped a lot of people short back in October before it ended up stopping them out with a push back up to 21, before then falling now to 16,000. This drop recently is due to the FTX scandal, which is probably going to push the bias or push the opinion of Bitcoin into the new year. So when we talk about 2023 predictions, this FTX scandal is a multi-billion-dollar, bigger than Bernie Madoff scam that's still unraveling at the time of filming this. So you have to remember that that is going to create fear in the market, and that's going to impact the price of Bitcoin. Is it a Bitcoin issue? No, not really, in my opinion. But because the majority of people see anything in revolving to crypto as anything revolving to Bitcoin, it sees them as one and the same. If crypto's taking a hit in the media, Bitcoin's taking a hit. You can almost guarantee it. So now we're looking at Bitcoin today, November 21st. We have the low from last 2 weeks ago set in at 15,400. It looks like we're going to take out this low. I know some people are going to be watching this months ahead and you're going to be looking back on this. I think we're going to take out 15,000 here in the next couple of days. Where do we stop? That's the bigger question. Where do we stop? As you can see, we have not been this low since 2020, way back here. Underneath, if you take a look here, during the 2019-2020 bull run from, 4,000 up to 20,000 in that initial push before it really accelerated. If you look at this compared to current price, you can see current price being this horizontal line here. The real important zone that we need to watch, I think, next is this at about 13,000. It's about a whole 12,900 to 13,900. So this zone to me is the next one to watch. If you look over here, you can see we're approaching it. We're not there yet, but we're close. If we take that zone out, I think you're going to see us probably go under 10K because then there's going to be very little support underneath it. Notice the amount of volume coming in here on the FTX thing, on the scandal. A lot of selling volume, which says a lot of people are afraid. So I think 2023, you're going to see Bitcoin move lower. But I do think 2024, 2025, 2026, 10 years from now, I don't think Bitcoin is going to be priced this low. I don't think. I could be wrong. Bitcoin could go to zero. It could be a Ponzi scheme too, for all I know. But I don't think, if everything I've heard is correct, that Bitcoin can stay down here forever. Long term, Bitcoin will go back higher, but short term, the next 1, 2, maybe even 3 years, I think you're going to see Bitcoin go lower. Now, I mentioned at the beginning, some of this is fundamental. Part of the reason for that is because Bitcoin is treated right now as a risk on asset. When stocks like US 500 or NASDAQ, when they move higher, Bitcoin moves higher. But when US 500 moves lower, Bitcoin tends to move lower. So they are somewhat correlated still, which makes me think that if stocks are going to continue to head lower, so is Bitcoin. Stocks will head lower because interest rates are still going to go higher. And I think we're going to take out the lows on S&P. I think we'll break back under 3,500. So if we're going to go that direction with the indices, we've got to go the same direction right now with Bitcoin. Until we really see a long period of time of price action and trend in Bitcoin not following the trend on the indices when they act different, then maybe that'll change my opinion. But it's been months, years now where they move very similarly, especially this year. Now, sentiment is important. Sentiment here now under 50, the yellow line under 50, tells me we are bearish, tells me there's a lot of bears in control. If we take this to a monthly time frame and erase the zones I have drawn, sentiment is not going to be as readable because, as you can see, it's not old enough. The chart's not old enough to pull from it. How about the weekly, though? The weekly sentiment went bearish in May for the first time since 2018. Now, when it went bearish in 2018, from when the sentiment line dropped under 50 until it came back, the lowest it moved was down about 43%. If you look at it from now, when we broke into that sentiment line to where we are now, we're only down about, same thing, 47%. So in that situation, we could start to see Bitcoin level out. But with sentiment now, this is why I think we go lower. Sentiment now is at 39. Sentiment never got to 39 in 2019. It was only 43. And if you go back here, you can see it's not even old enough to print. So really, it's not a lot of data that we can use to read this indicator, but on all my other trading, the sentiment indicator works very, very well. So for now, even looking at the daily, it's very, very bearish, as it's been most of the year. Very bearish most of the year. Look back to January. Very bearish most of this year, comparative to 2021, where it was mostly bullish. So I think overall, Bitcoin's headed lower 2023. Do we bottom out in 2023 at some point? That would not surprise me. Hit the bottom is set in 2023, and we see rise into the next couple of years. That'll probably coincide with interest rates chilling out and maybe coming down. I think that'll coincide with that. It'll coincide with stocks starting to do better again. As stocks do better in the near future, hopefully 2023, 2024, Bitcoin will do better and move higher as well. So that's my analysis on Bitcoin. Make sure you guys check out the page below. If you want to come trade live with me, you can do that on ASFX TV. You can also watch recordings of all of my trading streams. You'll also trade with other funded full-time traders. You won't just hear me barking at you all day. There's other opinions, other guys trading through the London session and the New York session. So click below. There's a 3-day free trial for you guys. Just use that link, sign up, and hopefully we'll see you there. But I hope this Bitcoin analysis helps. Good luck, happy trading, and I hope you guys have a great 2023.